Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara. All relations. Let's get started today. Everybody get into your seats and just feel into your physical body, your own embodiment. Okay? Because this is what we're going to be talking about today. So without further ado, let's kick it off. Let's get into our own genius zones where we feel so tapped in into our own individual nature. I really want to help people today if they're ever feeling lack, if they're ever feeling trapped in terms of their own mindsets. Okay. Remember, all is mind. Okay. So if all is mind, that means that you are living in a mental universe, correct? And if you're living in a mental universe, you're going to have to be very curious about the content within you. I'm not talking about the content outside of you. I'm talking about the internal content. There's a certain kind of dream that you have, symbols that come through, synchronicities that whisper to you. And so this is all about you reconnecting with that divine essence and bringing it alive, okay, through your own beingness. So the divine masculine within all of us wants freedom. The divine feminine within all of us wants love. So together as electromagnetic beings, we crave love and freedom. Now, if we don't get love and freedom, we're going to cling to them in other areas of our life. We're going to try to find love in places where love is not found. We'll try to find freedom in places that are seemingly suffocating. And we will try to self-sabotage our own spiritual paths. And this is not what we want. Okay. Finally made it to alive. Hey there, Wendy. Awesome. If you have any questions along this topic, let me know. Okay. Just sharing this with the tribe for a second. Strange. My Telegram is glitchy, let's just say. All right. Forward to adepts as well. Okay, cool. All right. So if you think you're free, you got to think again. All right. So this isn't just a YouTube video. This might be a spiritual ass whooping for some of you. For some of you, not all of you, but I'm gonna break it to you fiercely, not gently. Okay, so you are not free. Okay, I am not free. If you think you are free because you can pick your own coffee flavor, or you can swipe left and right on an app, or you can choose your pronouns, but that's not freedom. That's a buffet of illusion served up by a system that feeds on your compliance and confusion. So most of you think freedom is about less taxes or my body, my choice, or don't tell me what to do, daddy government. Okay. But that's kids' menu rebellion. It's the real slavery. It's internalized. It's when you start waking up and realizing, oh shit, I'm not even living my life. I'm living a script written by my culture, my religion, my parents, my ex, and a bunch of dead philosophers who never even had Wi-Fi. Okay? So freedom isn't about breaking chains as we would like to believe. Okay? Real freedom is about dropping the leash or the chains that you have put on yourself. There's 3 different traps that I'll be covering. As you understand these different spiritual pitfalls or traps, you will be able to step into your flow state essence, your prime divine power, your inner nature. Okay, let's get started. Trap number 1 is the trap of identity. One of the biggest excuses that I hear from people, and I'm a coach, I'm a counselor, okay, I'm a positive psychologist and healer, and I hear this so many times. That's just not me. Yeah, I know, but that's just not me though. I don't know, right? It's a closing off of the identity. It's the stubbornness of the ego not wanting to budge. You know what I mean? Like you can try it, but these people won't even try it. They think it's a waste of time because they're trapped by the concepts of impatience and time and being attached to time. And this has to happen by this specific time. And so the identity forms almost a time bridge, right? So you were born wild, but what happened? You got named, you got blamed, you got framed, then you got tamed, right? Bars. Now you act like you're supposed to be a good son or a good daughter, supposed to be a good employee, supposed to be spiritual, not sexual, supposed to speak not too loud, don't dress like that, and don't think like that. Supposed to, right? So, bro, sis, you've been captured, right? Not by the state, but by your own damn mind trying to fit into cages with golden bars. So even your thoughts aren't yours. There's some rented space from some TikTok guru, some wounded healer, or your own uncle who thinks depression is cured with multivitamins. You're not even free to think your original thoughts. So you think you're deciding, but we're just echoing what's being programmed. Every choice we make until we wake up is made of a maze of mirrors pointing back at ourselves. Hey there, love. Big White. What's up, dog? Oh, you're going to like this one, man. You're going to like this one. So I was talking about the first trap is the identity trap. The second trap is the thought trap. You think you're deciding and you're just echoing what's being programmed, right? The third trap is the morality trap. Okay. So here's the spicy one. You're told to be selfless, to give, to serve, to sacrifice, to compromise. But let's be honest, sacrifice without soul is just an internal slavery with good PR, right? They told you unselfishness is holy, but unselfishness without a self, right? Isn't that spiritual shrinking, anorexia? You can't pour into others if you're sipping on an empty cup, right? So let's say happiness is a glowing red orb and you pass it around the room like a potato of guilt. No one wants to hold it because it feels selfish. So it goes full circle. Okay? Congratulations, you just wasted everyone's time. Trap number 4 is the government illusion. Okay? This is the conspiracy theorists nut jobs that think bureaucracy is the enemy. You are the damn bureaucrat or the aristocrat of your own soul. Every single day you stamp and approve your own disempowerment. You censor yourself more than any algorithm ever could. You can't say that. You can't want that. You can't leave him, her, them, this job, this identity. You can, but you won't because you fear being real more than you fear being regulated. I'm talking to certain individuals, so don't think that this is specifically for you, whoever's listening, okay? But here's the punchline. We chose this. We voluntarily handed over the keys to our life. No one stole them from us. We walked into the mental prison. We sat down. We painted the walls with inspirational quotes. And what's the antidote? It's not revolution, it's revelation. Okay? The universe or source or God will reveal to us what is next. So recognizing that you are the source of your reality, realize no one's coming to save you. Not your therapist, not your guru, not even Uncle Mako. But you got to reclaim your birthright to be wild, weird, wonderful being who writes their own myth every single day. Of course, you can ask a question, Big White. Go ahead. So you don't need to change the world. You need to change how you relate to the world. Okay. And that starts with one rebellious act of radical self-honesty. I will no longer betray myself for the sake of fitting in. Soul ignition, right? Not even a mic drop. Soul ignition. Now go, unplug, unmask, uncage, unfuck yourself. Welcome to Primal Sutra, where we don't do freedom like a bumper sticker. Okay? It's like a pact. You're just getting started, you know? So am I. Because I used to have this idea of like enlightenment is this filtered, sterile, sexless state of mind, the type that they're slinging in ashrams and Zoom satsangs. But no, I'm talking about like the feeling alive, wild, like the thunderclap enlightenment, right? The kind that molts you, rips off your spiritual Botox and gives you your own damn heartbeat back, right? Awareness can be neutral, static, the ceiling fan of the universe. It spins, but it doesn't move you. You know what does move you? Your own Shakti, your own life force. God's jazz, correct? Okay. Big What is asking, I have a mentally ill daughter, 25 years or so. How do I know when to let go and how to let go? Hmm. Hmm. Let me just tune into the guides first. What kind of mental illness does she have? If you don't mind sharing that, I don't know if you want to reveal that. That might be confidential. That's up to you. Okay. Bipolar. Okay, so that means it's an energy flow thing. Okay. Bipolar and schizoaffective. Okay. So she's very in her mind and she's very up and down with her energy, you could say. Okay. And changing with that energy. So you would have to hold a very, very powerful inner world for her so that she could have her ups and downs and her, mental world be ingrained into reality somehow. So you kind of want to be her tethered to reality in a certain sense. So when your health becomes a crutch, not a bridge, like what if she's learning to lean on your support instead of learning how to move with the energy, your energy might be preventing like her own resilience, right, from being herself. So when she isn't choosing healing, she's just talking about it. That's another sign that you can let go because if she refuses every tool, every session, every practice while romanticizing her own suffering, you can't do the transformation for her, right? And of course, when spirit tells you, when the divine tells you to take a step back, that deep whisper that you feel, right? As a father, you have that intuitive fatherly sense, that intuitive ache, right? That recurring sign. And if you're getting clear nudges to let go, just listen to that, bro, right? Trust that your release might be what activates her rise. Yeah, she will refuse. Exactly. So letting go isn't a rejection, right, brother? It's offering the dignity of growth. So you can't love her and still say, I trust your path, I'm here. Remind her she's more powerful than she realizes, right? You really have to just build up her self-esteem, brother, because living with those two disorders, it puts you very much in the mind and in your feelings. So that's a lot of electromagnetic frequency for an individual. Okay, and this is why it's been like lashing out and so forth, because the energy doesn't want to settle. That's not its baseline. Okay, so what you have to do is be her baseline, be her inner sanctum, where she can be her weird, wacky, wild, cool self, sassy self, and you just maintain the frame of a father for her, be there for her, be her guidance system, her GPS, right? Shout out to our last podcast if you guys didn't see that, because that was really powerful, because I did a wealth clear on Ryan G, and it was a very instructive process. You can go and see that, watch that, see the behind the scenes of what we really do with the energy work, right? We've been thinking of a group home. It's getting hard here at home. Yep, 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 yep. Some, well, some environment that's kind of tailor-made for her, right? To really thrive in her own ways, right? That would be the best thing to do. All right. But yeah, you will know. You will know, because when you're being drained, that's a time when you have to let go, bro. Because when your well is drying up, it's time to pull back with love, not with guilt, right? But yeah, finding her a space where she can thrive and fully be herself, activate her divine feminine in that container. Okay. That'll be very powerful for her. Awesome. Thank you for the question. That was epic. Okay. But most spiritual teachers out there, they're stuck in what I call the padded cell of emptiness. So their vibe is like monotone monks with the libido of a spoon, right? They stare at walls and they call it liberation. But what is that really, right? High level avoidance, wearing a white robe. You want freedom, you got to go through the storm. You got to meet the shadow, right? You got to dance with your anger, your lust, your chaos, not just bypass it like a scared little monk trying to look holy on Instagram, right? So stop playing dead, start living divine, because true liberation, enlightenment isn't the abscess of the ego, it's the transcendence of its grip on your nervous system. It's knowing you have a personality, but not being possessed by it, right? It's being able to make love like a god and cry like a human in the same breath. Thank you, sir. I knew you would have the right words. Powerful. Shitty, I can't watch this. Big White, so sorry. All good, Wendy. Catch the replay. Okay. It's the transcendence of the grip on its nervous system. So, by knowing you have a personality, and that creates your personal reality, to all of the self-realized zombies out here whispering, you are not the body. Why does my body flinch when I say the word sex or money? Why does my mouth dry up when I mention money? Why do I choke on my own silence when chaos enters the room? There's something else happening. Okay. You may have found awareness, but you left your backbone back in the karmic dumpster. So awareness without energy is a corpse with a halo, right? So the identity trap, burn it. The spiritual ego, expose it. New age feel good stuff, just shred it. Because the kingdom of heaven is not for the lukewarm. Okay. The ones that charge into the storm, that's who we are. The buffalo heart. Okay. This is the new doctrine. We don't sit in caves, we roar in cities. We don't float away, we dig in. We don't seek liberation in emptiness, we find it in fullness. So if you've got the guts to look your fear in the eye and say, I'm not your servant, I am your alchemist, then welcome. We've been waiting for you. Now grab your remote controller, the video game joystick of life, and let's raise the world like a phoenix from the ashes of avoidance. Okay. We're not disciples of dopamine. Okay. It's time for a reality exorcism because your spiritual progress might be you getting spiritually possessed by a constipated egregore in beige linen. So let's rip the veil off of the most eclectic, exaggerated, and electrically accurate truths that are coming through right now. Most people who you think are your teachers, are gurus, are actually energetically below you. You've heard that right. If your teacher gives off the vibe of a sentient Google Doc or a whispering tree in a coma, it's because they're operating at 10% life force expression. And you're still choosing them because you're stuck at 8. That's not reverence. This is some kind of an energetic Stockholm syndrome. You're not humbly learning. You're kneeling before someone who couldn't manifest decent espresso. 80% of your life force is a prison run by a nice smile. Okay. Big Y, I don't think she meant it in that way, brother. I don't think she meant it in that way. I think she's just saying sorry for what you've been through, you know? Wendy, maybe you can clarify, but I know maybe you have to go. Okay. So your body wants to dance, it wants to howl, it wants to create, but your spiritual ego wants to look like it has it all together. So instead of choosing a mirror that reflects your divine chaos, you choose a mentor who's basically a walking lockbox of repression. You're choosing teachers who have less voltage than you because your demons are terrified what will happen when your full wattage turns on. Okay? Don't listen to spiritual ventriloquist dummies. If your teacher is channeling something that makes your gut twist like a haunted didgeridoo, run. They're not channeling source. They're outsourcing their life to astral grifters who talk pretty, but they have no embodied wisdom. Okay? So if your teacher gets uncomfortable around a word or blushes at the thought of a wild dance or an honest tear, you're in an emotional convent. You're not in a spiritual circle. Okay? Spiritual suppression is not enlightenment, it's ego and drag. And if their sacral chakra is frozen in a pond of shame, they aren't leading you to God. They're probably leading you to some kind of a celibate purgatory place. And that strong teacher who always talks like they've got a hotline to heaven, check on them, right? Check them. Is their confidence alive or is it lacquered on? If they can't express tears or rage or chaos or play, that's an AI generated Guru Bot 3000, right? Monotone voice, deep quotes, and zero thunder in my spine. Okay. It's not because authentic teachers are too much for you. It's because they mirror the part of you that you've locked up in a dungeon. The part of you that wants to scream truth, just blast your heart open and wear velvet while reciting, Rumi verses on the rooftop. But instead, you know, people choose a teacher that sounds like a guided meditation that's narrated by a dying fax machine. So a real spiritual teacher doesn't just transmit presence. They paint galaxies. They build temples on sand. They're overwhelming with divinity and arrows, even when fully clothed in sweatpants. And if their teachings don't taste like life, they're preaching from the graveyard. You don't choose your teacher by how still they are. You choose them based on how much thunder there is underneath everything, coursing through their words, their breath, their life. Okay? So life force has a rhythm. Divinity has a pulse, truth has a scent. Respect to you, Makara. Thank you. Your own guru always. Absolutely. Because what is the guru? The one who goes from darkness to light, correct? Brings someone from darkness to light. We've always used this term, the Rugurus, right? If you guys know that. It's an old school Primal Sutra technology, where we said from darkness, from light to darkness, because we're born in the world as light, right? Light to darkness, and then to light again. So the Ruguru transcends even beyond the whole birth, death spectrum, right? And the guru is just the incarnation in this physical realm. Like you know what was so interesting is I posted that on my story. I don't know if you guys saw, but your deity is your twin flame, right? Everyone uses the term twin flame to say it's your romantic partner, but I think it's interesting to see it in the form of a guide because they are burning where you are burning, right? So if God is your mentor, all the right mentors will appear according to your life path. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if that mentor doesn't make you want to shout, yes, and weep in awe at the same 10 minutes, right? You're not learning, you're limping. So don't follow the one who knows the path, follow the one whose footsteps leave golden fire in the soil, right? You're not here to bow to empty vessels, you're here to ignite your own temple. Discernment included always. Yeah, discernment or get devoured. Choose the people who scare your shame into surrender, because lifelessness is not enlightened. Okay? It's just a very exceptional branding of fear, right? But you're just getting activated, okay? Hmm. Any questions, guys? Anything coming up? You see, love is not here to fix you, it's here to witness you, walk beside you, believe in the light that still burns within you, even when you can't feel it. You know, there are days where I want to wrap myself in all the healing that I've ever found, right? To fight battles for others, to make their pain go away. But I know now that the greatest gift I can give is not by rescuing them, but by remembering who they really are when they forgot who they were. So I will always hold your soul in the highest light, but I release your journey back to your own spirit. I will walk ahead of you or behind you. I'll walk beside you when you call. And until then, I will love you from my wholeness, not my worry. Right? You are not broken, you are becoming. Hmm. Why am I getting like this Freya vibe that keeps coming up again and again? Probably because we're in a new phase or a new cycle, huh? Because I'm getting this Raven energy, this fierce beauty, love, and spiritual independence that's coming through. Let me see if I can tap into her energy. Mhm. Fire wrapped in softness. She summons you back to the throne, back to your breath. Huh. The rose only blooms when it's trusted to the sun. Wow. Your love has been a shelter. Now let your trust be the bridge. I am the flame in your chest that refuses to die. You are not lost, you are gathered. This is some of the things that she's saying. So, okay. How to deal with martyr syndrome. Okay. Martyrdom. So, martyrdom is like basically taking on a very grand cause, sacrificing yourself, right? Unknowingly for people who sacrifice unknowingly for others by depleting themselves. Okay. Okay. This is a really interesting one. And I think the answer is really in self-acceptance, because martyrdom, all it does is just repeat the same cycle. You're So you want to replace saving someone with sovereignty. Okay. What am I unconsciously trying to get by sacrificing myself to this cause, or whatever you're sacrificing yourself to as a martyr, right? So every time you say yes when you were meant to say no, that's when you're really reclaiming that martyrdom. You have to reclaim the yes behind the no. Hmm. The identity has become one of a martyr. So that's a distorted identity, because hmm, it doesn't really help you thrive, right? Your soul to dance and lead and like do amazing things. So what if you were this kind of radiator or magnet of this healing light instead of being a vessel of suffering, right? And because I think the cure to martyrdom is coming through my higher self, the Vaiwamus vortex. You let the unconditional divine love flow through you, not drain you. The martyr looks at that unconditional love and thinks it's a threat. They push it away, they brush it under the rug, they do something, they snip it, they edit it out. But you can't bypass source. Okay? That's everything there is. Okay? The proof is in the creation. All right? So I think tonight I'm going to be channeling, surprise who it is. Okay. Big surprise. I think Ellie already knows. Um, let's see if it aligns. Okay. I do have a lot of sessions today as well to get through. So depending on how I feel, might need to reschedule that. Um, but I think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen. Okay, tonight. So we're gonna be learning about potentials. Okay, our own potentials. And I think it's gonna be very powerful. Big White probably need to take a different perspective in dealing with your stepdaughter not acting as the savior. Right. Exactly. You're not there to fix her. You are just her feedback mechanism, right? You're just giving her a different way of looking at the situation, whereas her way is maybe not the most aligned, accurate way, right? So just be that mirror, be that guiding principle that can, you know, boost her momentum. Be the rock, in a sense, for her. Yeah. Like worse damage can be hidden in good intents, but with wrong timing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Manner Jesus wants to recalibrate now. Like it's sitting more, it's coming down into my lower chakras now. I'm feeling it. To consciously send it back up to my heart to end this transmission. Byproduct of energy work. Okay. All right, let's end it with a card pull. What is the message that all of us need to hear in regards to freedom and love? What is the best way for us as adepts, as Primal Sutra connoisseurs of this path? How do we most align with our divine masculine freedom and our divine feminine love within ourselves? And the answer is Do not be afraid. Stand up for your beliefs. Truth is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. Okay. Interesting. So one is an energy that seems to be just like slicing through. Another very, very powerfully lit energy. Okay. Like Lady Venus energy. All right. Amazing. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tapping in. I hope you like this background, by the way. I know it's a little bit trippy, but hopefully it can remind us that, hey, there's these beings, all around us, So it's cool to just chill amongst them. Like not to get wrapped up in their world, but just, it's like background noise a little bit, right? To understand it like this. So at least this is how I see the humor in using something like this to teach, right? This is almost like psychedelic training for somebody, right? If they're tripping, probably like go to an Uncle Makara video and just like, you know, wind down, wind down, wind down, wind down. Find your center, find your flow state bridge, right? All right, guys. Thank you so much for tapping in. I hope you have an incredible rest of your day. Thank you. All right. But let's get it. Upward spiral, gang. May we never be the same again. Okay. Let's unlock the swag, unlock. Okay. Let's get it. Upward spiral. Let's go. I'll see you at the top. Remember who you really are. Momento futurum. Remember the future, as Janos would say. Osa. Let's go. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Much love. Peace.